What's up, poppin' off, everybody? My name is Razorian Book, and I've recorded this video. This will be the third time now because I'm having distortion problems with this microphone that I'm using. And I thought, you know, if I'm gonna make a video on how to edit the audio in your YouTube video, then I should probably have good audio in my YouTube video to prove I kind of know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I'm going to focus on just audio in the video, not music. I'll explain music a little bit near the end, but I'm not going to go in depth. So this is a video, a vlog update on my channel. It's most likely the video that is right before this one, because I'm editing it right now. So it'll be done as soon as I'm done editing it. What you can see here is this blue track here is me talking and talking through the entire video. I got some parts here where I don't talk. This green track is the music that I'm using, and I get the music off a YouTube channel called 99 Lives, and they have copyright free music for your YouTube videos or whatever you want to use it for. And then I got another track down here, and this track is it's audio that I don't want to edit, so I put it on a separate track. It's me playing video games. There's background noise, but I don't want it to be full volume. I don't want to raise the volume or anything like that, so I put it on a separate track so I don't have to mess with it when I'm editing this audio, because we're going to take this audio, we're going to put it over into Adobe Audition, where we're going to change some stuff, because this audio, you might be able to tell, is a little bit quieter, and this is even more quieter. We have some high spikes here in the audio, so we're going to fix all that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that this track is not muted. So it's not muted, and I'm going to mute everything else. Now I'm going to hit Control M, which is just render, to bring up your export settings. And usually I would have this at H.264 for rendering out video, but right now I'm just editing the audio, so I set it to MP3. You could set it to a WAV format if you're working on a project that you want to be awesome, but this is a vlog slash update video, so I'm just going to leave it at MP3, and I'm set this to import into project, because when I edit in Adobe Audition, it's going to automatically update the settings here in Adobe Premiere. So it's just easier for me to import it straight into the project, so I don't have to find it in a folder later. So we're just going to go export. Alright, now we open up Adobe Audition. I've already got it here because like I said, I already recorded this video 2 times, but I'm going to start from scratch. I find the finding the audio. I bring it back in here. Boom, there we go. So there's the audio. You can see there's the sections that are really quiet, and there are some huge spikes over here that we got to deal with, and we want to level all the volume so it's all the same volume. The first thing I'm going to do is take these quieter parts, and I'm going to just raise the volume a little bit. This doesn't have to be exact, just a little bit better, so that the program has less to deal with when I'm using a compressor, sustainer, or whatever this is called. We're going to go to effects here, and we go to amplitude, and then I'm going to go to dynamic processing, and there's a whole bunch of settings here. You'll probably be on default unless you use this thing, you know what it's all about, but it's basically making the quiet parts louder, and it makes the louder parts quieter. And I like to use this one right here, the wrap presence, and what it just has the perfect settings that I want. When I push apply, boom, you will see what happens to the waveform. The reason why I like that preset is because you can see it's compressed the audio completely, but you still get a bunch of spikes, which means it hasn't compressed it to the point where it's just going to be muffled and flat, like if you were mastering a music track or something like that. So it's just really good for audio, but you can see it's too quiet now. Both these tracks are the same track if you're not too familiar with audio, but we have to raise the volume again. But this time I'm going to go to effects, I'm going to go to back to amplitude and go to normalize, and this will raise the volume to its maximum level without peaking. And so it'll find the biggest spike and raise it to that point. Now at default this might be set to 100, I'm not sure. I like to set it to a little below because I don't want to go all the way maxed out, but it's pretty close to there, you'll see. So boom, there we go, everything's louder and things are compressed quite a bit more. What happens is, you say you're playing in Adobe Premiere or in Adobe Audition, you'll hit this one spot right here, just this one fraction of a second, and it will catch that and it'll say, hey, your audio is too loud. So then what a lot of people do is they end up turning down the entire track, making the entire track quieter when it's really just that fraction of a second that's causing the peak. So what I do is I zoom in really close, and we're dealing with a fraction of a second here. Let me play this. Did you hear it? You didn't even hear anything, did you? So if I go over here and I lower the volume, now you'll see that peak is a little bit smaller. What I like to do in Adobe Premiere is I like to make sure all my audio is above this last green line here and below this green line here on both tracks, but a lot of the time both tracks are exactly the same. So I'll go through here. Here's a couple peaks, this one here, so we want to lower the volume for this here and just get it below this green line, or that's what I like to do anyways. So that way when we are in Adobe Premiere it won't peak at all. And you don't have to worry too much about, you know, how much you lower the volume. Like I said, I like to keep it above this line here, but if I don't need to look at the exact number. If it's anywhere in the vicinity, then that's perfectly fine. And that was the only peaks we had. But because of those peaks, when I did the normalization, it went only to those peaks, which means we can raise this volume even louder. So I'm gonna, now that I've fixed those peaks, I'm gonna go back and normalize it again, and that's gonna bring up the volume for everything. Boom, there we go. But now we have more peaks we have to deal with. So I'm gonna go back again and I'm gonna get rid of all these peaks in the audio, but I'm not gonna normalize it again after this. It'll be perfectly fine. But depending on your project, you might want to put more time into it. You might want to be more precise. You know, I'm sure I'd put a lot more effort into this if, say, I was working on a track for Drake or something. If you're working on a movie or a short film or something, maybe you want to put a little bit more effort into this. But for a YouTube video, this will definitely be sufficient. So we definitely have a lot more peaks to deal with the second time around, but I've done this enough times that it really takes no time at all for me. Well, it's taken just as much time, as you can see. You're here with me, so but I've learned kind of what I can do and what I can't do. Now, there are times like this where you'll come across a whole section that has a few peaks, like this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I will just go over the whole section and fix them all at once if I don't have to do too much adjustment. Like, I don't believe that's gonna affect the audio, because it wasn't a huge section and I didn't turn the volume down that much. So sometimes I do that. Depends on the project. Yeah, I think we're good here. So all I have to do now is go to File and go to Save, and it's gonna save it, and then all I have to do is go back into Premiere, and there's my file because I selected Import into Project, and all I have to do is bring this directly in, and you'll notice right away that it doesn't look fixed, and the audio still looks quiet. And I was like, what the heck is going on here? And because I've recorded this now 2 times already and it confused me. But if you delete it, I don't know if you just have to wait a couple seconds or something, but it does update. I think you just have to wait a moment. I don't know, because if I bring this open again and close it and go like this, here we go. It's doing something. There we go. See? It just fixed. Now the audio is good. Like you just saw there, I didn't do anything different. So I don't know why it does that. I think it just takes a few seconds. But Adobe Audition does something a little weird, and it's kind of annoying. I don't know why Adobe Audition does this, but it adds a few seconds to the beginning of the track. So if I click on the audio and we zoom in here, we can notice that the audio isn't perfectly in sync. So what I do to fix this is I just go to the beginning of the track and I just take some out from the beginning and go back here, find a loud part of the audio, line it up a little bit better here. So let's try like right there. There we go. So now it's more lined up. Now that's lined up properly, I can go back here and put this audio back, and everything's synced up. So now we can test it out, but we gotta mute the original track, and I like to keep the original around just because it has all these cuts in it. So if there was ever an issue, if I messed something up, I could just take the original and cut and paste, and I would know exactly where the cuts are. So I'll just leave that there, but I'll mute it. Maybe I'll shrink it here for you guys just so you can see the results better. And let's listen to this. First one was like a month late, and now this one's like a month late. So we're a month behind, but I'm still doing them. Okay, and you can see here the meter. I left it 0 because I know I don't need to adjust the volume at all. The snow is all melted. Can you see? Oh, I'm so happy. See, it gets really high up there on the gauge, but it never peaks, and it never will. And that is it. That's how I edit the audio for talking and different stuff in my video that isn't music. Now I told you I was going to tell you a little bit about how I edit the music, so I will do that now. So we have an intro here with my dog, and there's no me talking. We have a couple parts back here. This is, let's see, we have here, this is a time lapse, so there's no talking. And then here I'm just playing the video games I told you about earlier, so there's no talking. So during these parts I want the music to be pretty much close to full volume, but then when I'm talking I want the music to be lowered so you can actually hear what I'm saying. Right here, this is our music track, and I find you want to lower it quite a bit for parts where you're talking. So it should sound something like this. Back with another update video. These update videos are supposed to be quarterly throughout the year, so like every 3 months, but my first one was so that's a pretty good volume, like extremely quiet, because you want people to hear what you're saying, and if the music is too loud it's gonna distract people. They're gonna be paying attention to the music and not what you're trying to get across. But there's an issue because I have an intro here and I want that to be full volume. I don't want that to be quiet. So in a situation like this, what I would do is I would raise the volume so it's louder but not peaking, and I find if I put it to 0 it still is like close to peaking. So I'll lower it a little bit. It doesn't need to be blasting in people's ears. And then I got these markers that I made, so I'll just fade it out to where I start talking, and I don't want it to be completely faded out. So it's just trial and error. Let's see how this sounds. What's up, poppin' off, everybody? My name is Razorian, back with another update video. You see how that works? Now I could actually probably lower this a little bit more, probably -13. What's up, poppin' off, everybody? My name is Razorian, back with another update video. So then you would go to the parts where the music would come back in. If it's not going to work in this particular video, but then you could just raise the volume again by creating more dots. What do you call them? Keyframes. That's the word I was looking for. So you would do something like that, but however, I want to keep the intensity for the beginning. When I go, my name's Razorian Buck, I still want that to feel intense. So a little trick I'm going to use in this video is I am not going to lower the volume at the very beginning. I'm actually going to keep the volume. Whoops, what did I do here? Keep the volume high, and I'll lower the volume a little through my voice, so that when I start talking and I do my intro, say my name, it still feels intense. Okay, so I want the volume to kind of end here, and then I want to keep it loud there. Let's see how that sounds now. What's up, poppin' off, everybody? My name is Razorian Buck, back with another. That was too short. This is where I want it to go. Right there. Let's try this. My name is Razorian Buck, back with another update video. These update videos are supposed to be. So you see how the music changed there? It was at the end of the beat and it's starting, I don't know, you call it a verse or you could just call it the next beat. So that would be a great place to lower the volume. So I could even bring this a bit closer, actually. Maybe lower, bring that a little farther out. Now it's a whole bunch of trial and error, which is why I'm not focusing too much on the music in this video. But this should sound a little bit better. Let's just listen to this. What's up, poppin' off, everybody? My name is Razorian Buck, back with another update video. These update videos are supposed to be quarterly throughout the year, so like every 3 months. So you see how I did that? I kept the volume going for the intro to make it feel more intense. Now I'm gonna mess with this a lot more because I still felt like my talking was too quiet and muffled behind the music, but I lowered it when I had something important to say, you know? The intro wasn't important. Everyone knows my name that comes to this channel. So that's a little trick that I do. Anyways, I hope this video helped you out. It was informative, gave you a few tips. Let me know in the comment section, and leave a like if you want to do that, and hit subscribe if you have not yet. And I will see you again on another video very soon. Okay? Okay. Be like, yeah. Peace.